Yeah, it's just like,
Well, it takes about, it takes a turn.
Alright, I'm gonna call the March 31st, 2026, 7:00 PM meeting to order. They're not on yet, but it takes a board vote. If Logan does sign on, is there any problem having Logan participate remotely? I know we now have
I don't have a problem with
agree
that.
to the participation.
I'll
Alright,
agree.
so,
I am here.
oh, well. You're just
Here, we can-
quietly
Invisible.
judging us, alright.
Just a little bit.
There, that gets us to 6, and we will start with the pre-conceptual consultation for 22 Alberton Road. You're here.
That would be me.
Maybe start us off, just tell us a little bit about the property and kind of what your
Okay,
questions are, what you're hoping to do.
I'm Marie Aberton, and my son is in here in place of David, my husband, because he has health issues, okay? That's what has started this whole thing. We are to the point where we can't take care of this place anymore, and we needed to kind of downsize.
Okay,
We've had the property on the market for a little while, and everybody says, too big, can't afford it. Okay. There are several people that are interested, sections. I have no wish to start breaking it up into house lots. But I would consider, this is the tax map, and I was thinking of setting it up into almost like 3 sections, okay? The house lot back from the brook over to the Baptist Hill Road is another section. And then from the Aberton Road over to the Shaker Road would be another section.
and so the first section would have its frontage on Baptist Hill Road.
No, that's Aberton.
The Alberton's right here, right?
Yes, that's the Baptist Hill, yes.
The middle one,
Where the house is,
Alberton, and that's where the house exists
that's where the
already.
house is.
Your house is up on the right on Aberton, right? As
Yeah, you're going
north.
in, it's on the left.
On the left.
It's
And then
right,
there's
kind of
another
in
house
where that
further
brook
up.
is.
And then the third section would be on Shaker Road, that would be its frontage primarily.
Yes. Yeah,
Where's
yeah,
your
you
house?
basically got it.
So your house
yes.
is right here?
Yes, it's more like right down here,
Oh.
right, almost near the brook.
But there's a house on here, isn't there?
There is a house up there, that is Richard and Deborah Good,
Oh, I thought that was
okay?
yours.
And
It's a
this
separate lot.
is another part of it. Paul Sanborn is down here.
Okay,
He would like a little bit to finish off his. Deborah and Rick would like to buy this here, which is about 12 acres, I think, 12 something, a little over 12.
And how much is the southern lot buying?
No, that's down, that's the the Peverly Meadow out in front.
it might be easier to, you can see the houses on the aerial photo if you wanna
Yeah.
look.
yeah, if you wanna circle over.
Bring that over. Like to look.
This is your house.
Yeah,
Yes,
the big house.
Whose is this?
this is Richard and Dick,
And they wanna buy what?
they wanna buy
This
this
one.
here to incorporate with yours.
I get it.
Okay.
And
Down here is, Paul Sanborn.
and they wanna just buy a little bit?
They wanna, but just kind of bring his property down to the brook,
Oh,
okay?
sure.
And I'm not sure, now this here, there would be no problem, that would be kept in current use, it's big enough. Paul, what he wants to is not, it's only an acre, and I don't believe his property is big enough to be in current use. So I guess
Oh, this
that
would
would
give him
take
enough for
that
current
little
use.
bit out of current use, I don't know if that's
If
possible.
it makes it more than 10 or 11 acres, so he can get current.
Or I think he even
Yeah.
just wants sort of fill out the lot to the brook, have a little
Yeah,
bit more
he
of a
just-
defined
boundary.
our property goes like just past the brook a little bit, almost right in back of his house.
Sure.
So he kind of would like to go down to the brook,
Oh, I get it.
which is,
Well, he owns a little bit more around his house. And then
yes.
this is the remaining piece, this one.
This is a remaining piece, and this here
Oh, I
is
see.
the piece. So this would be one, this would be another section, and this would be a section. Then they want that, and Paul wants this.
Oh, I see, so you'll sell these two.
So these two
Yes.
are lot line adjustments, I believe,
Oh, right.
right?
Those are lot line adjustments.
If they're in butter.
Okay, is that what
Sand
that
board
would
is, I don't know,
fall?
but the other one, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can make them just by switching the, you know, sort of like just switching the
Mm-hmm.
lines around rather than subdividing.
Okay,
There's a lot less requirements for a lot line
okay,
adjustment than a
okay.
subdivision.
I did, part of this is, I did go to a surveyor just to kind of see if this is a viable thing to do. And, he told me how much it would be to survey the whole place.
Yeah.
And I kind of fell over. So I said, well, let me go to the planning board and see if this is even a possibility before I engage you to do that.
Are you thinking of putting any of it in, what would you call it?
Conservation easement.
Conservation easement?
Well, this here is conservation,
That's where the
okay?
pond is.
So, yes, Peverly Pond there as you go by. So I was thinking maybe if they wanted to kind of incorporate something here. I know, the Conservation Commission had said something about
They're
wanting
here.
to maybe. Right. Maybe you can weigh in
Feel
that.
free to come up, yeah, there's.
I'm
we can grab
Marianne
more
Kelly
chairs if
Short.
you need.
I'm on the Conservation Commission, and I did talk to your real estate agent
Yeah.
several months ago to let them know that we do have some interest in trying to expand the conserved land around Peverly Meadow, if you're interested. And we had the same idea in mind that some of it could perhaps be done with just a lot line adjustment rather than a whole subdivision, but that might help to further reduce the total acreage that you're seeking to sell and, you know, make, again, like that, so what you're calling the third section would become a little bit smaller, and you could reduce the price and maybe make that more saleable for people. So we would be happy to, this isn't really the place, I don't want to take over your meeting, but we'd be happy to talk to you about, you know, what your conservation goals might be for part of the property and how we could maybe help,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, and I think we've thought about if we sold some of the pieces, letting them know that even if we didn't do it, that if they wanted to, then sort of reduce their lot sizes or something would be another option.
Maybe, but there is expense and administrative work once, this is a conservation easement as opposed to current use that I'm thinking of. And so doing one larger conservation easement is more viable and practical than selling the land and then having the three abutting people each want to put a few
I think
acres.
most of what would go into the conservation, I mean, this is probably more in the weeds than we need to be, but I think most of what would be in the conservation would all be in one of the potential
Okay,
subdivisions.
well, I'd be happy to talk to you after the formal part of your planning board meeting is over.
Yeah, so,
Thanks.
I think what would maybe be helpful, but unless you have more to explain now, is we can discuss sort of the difference between subdivision, what's required for that, and lot line adjustment, and what's required for that
Okay.
as a starting point.
The only other question was the surveyor question, because we're cutting that down to the brook. This is a class 6 road. Does that count as frontage for the house? Because then the house would be from the brook to here. Does that count? Would this count for frontage?
It counts
So
as
that would be.
frontage, it may change, you know, if you need a building permit, but that's if you divided it the way you're proposing, that's the lot that already has a house and already has a driveway. But if you end up needing, if any lot ends up needing a new driveway on a class 6 road, there's some waivers, and you have to go through the select board. for that
Okay.
piece.
But if someone just bought this section where the house and the driveway is there, that would be permissible.
It would be permissible, it may limit their ability to get a future subdivision down the road.
Yeah,
Three hundred
well,
feet, you just
that's
have to
their
maintain
problem.
driveway
Yes.
frontage.
Right, so, but for purposes of creating a subdivision off of this lot, I don't think there's any issue with that middle lot its frontage is solely Atherton and the other two are.
Okay, so that would not be a problem then, as far as splitting them into these sections?
I don't think it's.
Not
That would-
standing on its own, yeah,
Yes,
but,
okay, thank you.
Current use is just, is a tax thing. Conservation easement is, well, sort of depends on how you set it up, but it restricts development in whatever way you choose to restrict.
Yeah, okay.
How many lots can you subdivide at once? Cause that's in ag and rural.
Well, there's a minor and a major subdivision, I think minor is 3 and major is more, right? Or
it
2.
might be 4 for minor, 4 or fewer.
Yeah, I
Total
believe-
lot. So, and this is where I think maybe it's helpful, just before we even talk about this, we just talk about lot
Okay.
line adjustment and subdivision. Because it may impact the order you choose to approach some of these as well. Lot line adjustments, it's in page 29 of the land development regulations. And the key piece is that you have 2 abutting parcels and you're changing the dimensions, so you can add to 1 or you could swap between 2, but you're not creating any new parcel. And both parcels end up sort of conforming, so you're not, creating some lot that's too
Okay.
small and wouldn't meet.
Yeah.
But if you're just adding acreage to existing lots on 2 sides from something as big as 180, you're gonna have no issue with any of the potential lot line adjustments. So if there's a lot line adjustment to transfer property to the Conservation Commission down there, if there's one for the abutting parcels of Sanborn, you had just one question on the goods purchase. I assume they own an abutting parcel.
Yes,
Too, so
they own the,
Okay,
The
yeah,
sort of cutout in the middle.
and so,
we're all around them.
and so the thing keep in mind, if they're just looking to add the land to their lot, that's
Yes.
what a lot line adjustment does.
Yeah.
If in their head, they think they're getting a new second lot and they're gonna own 2 different lots that are next to each other, that would take a subdivision,
Okay,
okay? But if each of those 3 potential sales were just them increasing the size of their abutting lot, it's a lot line adjustment, it's really straightforward, we're just sort of at a high level looking to make sure you're not making it any
Well,
more
okay.
non-conforming.
And I think you probably wanna do it first, because it's simple. That'd be, at least I think so.
Yes, so when we look at a subdivision, and part of why we'll circle back to that piece of doing the lot line first might help you. We have to look at the entire parcel that's being subdivided, and then you have to show each of the new lots you're creating, so you're starting with 1, but you're creating 3. The highest or the most important piece is it's in section 5.2. I don't think you're gonna have any
Of the
issue
ordinance.
of the ordinance, zoning ordinance. It has, oops, that's the old one. There's a new one. Thanks. Basically you need a certain amount of frontage, it's the minimum lot width. You have to have a certain amount of acreage, and it may change a little. That's either 3 or 5 acres depending on rural or agricultural. Based on what you have here, you're gonna be
yeah,
very well in advance of, I can't imagine they're anywhere close to the,
The one on
yeah.
You're well above the
the
minimum for
Baptist
frontage
Hill,
on-
what did you
about
say?
70,
About
the
70.
middle one is about 45 and the
yeah.
remainder is the one that's over on Shaker Road.
That's about.
It's like 60.
Oh, this one's 70 acres.
Yeah, about 70,
And the frontage is on
is way on
Baptist
the
Hill,
Baptist
right?
Hill
And
Road,
And
yeah.
you need 3, I think it's 300 feet of frontage for each of
Yeah,
those
that's right.
lots,
Looks
so if
like
you have
it.
one, it would be 300 feet of frontage on Baptist Hill. 300 on Aberton for the middle parcel, 300 on, is that Shaker at the bottom?
As long as we can count the Class 6 road, I
I
think
think you do.
we'd have 300 feet on the.
It might be a little trickier if that was the new lot that doesn't have the house.
Right.
Sort of solve a lot of problems where there's an existing driveway and an existing house.
Okay,
But if you did the subdivision first, that's where it gets a little trickier, cause then we look at the whole parcel, we can't take into consideration that you might be getting rid of portions down the road, we just look at the subdivision.
Okay.
If you do some lot line adjustments first, we would just look, when we do the subdivision, at the remainder, the piece that's left.
now, to do this, I would have to have a survey around, or not,
So for our purposes, we may not, with something this big, need a fully stamped survey. But for purposes of selling the lots, that's something they're gonna
Okay.
need new meets and bounds to make sure that they can convey.
Somebody buying it would want it,
Yes.
probably,
So-
okay.
You may postpone getting the survey until you have a seller in mind and come get the subdivision first, or you might get the survey ahead of time, get the subdivision with the fully stamped survey, and
Okay,
then convey the lots afterwards.
And you might save some money on the survey by, this is a big enough parcel that you can ask to waive some of the requirements of the survey. And I don't know how much they cost these days, but I think there's like an adder for each thing. If you have wetlands, it's more, if you have,
it's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
He told me to do the whole thing would be around 30 to 35,000.
Oh my.
yeah, but you also might be able to build that into one of the sales, if you're getting ready to do a sale,
True.
you can, potentially have something that's conditional on getting subdivision approval and
Yeah, that's a
have
good
that
idea.
going
That's a
on it,
good
and there's ways to
Yeah.
approach that.
Wow. Very good, you're giving me some good ideas.
Yes, and so if you have questions as you go along, feel free to reach out to the land use administrator, Michelle, she's great. But the two big ones for subdivision, it's 5.2 is the minimum lot standards in the zoning ordinance.
Okay, and so,
And then in the land development regulations, there's a section on what you need for an application for a subdivision. And there's that other section I told you about
Okay.
for lot line adjustment.
I hope you put it all in conservation.
I would like to, but unfortunately,
Josh, are you willing to fund it for us?
I can't buy it either.
I would love to. I would have loved to sell it as one piece and have someone keep it like David and I did. But unfortunately, he's been diagnosed with dementia, so I may be looking at having to eventually a nursing home if he gets bad enough, so unfortunately,
I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah.
Alright, any other questions for us before we?
No, I think that answers
Yeah,
it. Thank you very
no
much.
problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's really.
Thank you for your time.
Do you mind, you don't pass that down? Before I forget that, take that.
Thank you. Have a nice meeting.
Good night. Alright, Logan, are you still there?
Yep, I'm still here.
Excellent. Alright, next up on the agenda is election of chair and vice chair. And we have everybody. It's great.
Logan's, oh. Hello again,
From the different board.
can't see.
So we're not one person down, because you got written in. Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. I was confused about that.
All seven. Alright, so I think the way we did it last year, unless anyone has issue changing with it, was first we took nominations for chair, a motion and a second. We'd ask if there are any other motions for a different person, and then once all of those are in order, because we have someone remote, it has to be a roll call vote, but we just go down the line, and then after we do chair, we do the same thing for vice chair. And we'll tell Calvin he's ineligible, so he can't control two boards.
No worries.
Alright,
No emoluments.
Not worried about that one.
so at this point, are there any motions for nominations for chair?
I'd like to nominate Brendan.
Second.
Alright, there's one motion and second. Are there any other? Oops. I don't know why I have to write my own name down. Any motions for any other
Certainly done that
candidates for chair?
before.
Well, cause I wanna be able to like put tallies next to, yeah. Alright. Hearing no other motions, any issue, I call the vote. Alright, all in favor of Brendan?
Don't we have to
We have to
roll
roll
call?
call.
Yeah, so we'll start with Logan.
Aye.
I'm considering you to my left, I'm going left to right, so not just calling you out here. Greg,
Aye.
I'll vote aye.
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 Alright. Next up is motions for nominations for vice chair.
I'll nominate, Megan.
Second.
Alright, we have a motion and a second for Megan as vice chair. Any other nominations or any motions for nominations? Alright, hearing none, I'll call the roll call in the same order. Logan?
I,
I wasn't sure that was you or Ori.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright,
Okay, did that.
resolved. New business, whoops, sorry, I'm skipping. Approval of draft meeting minutes. Did you
I'm
get
sorry,
any suggested
I
changes
did
for the
not, and
March
there-
17 draft meeting minutes?
someone sent any to me, and I did not receive them, but
Alright, well, if you didn't, that's fine. Are there any other,
I wasn't here.
That's why it
you
was
might
so
not
quick.
have any.
We couldn't do anything, there was no one here.
No, I thought you
Alright.
meant because I talked too much.
So if there's no other changes, I'd take a motion to approve the draft meeting minutes as written.
motion to approve is written.
Second? Is there a second? I'll second it, because we're running out of people. Alright, all in favor of approving the draft meeting minutes, say aye.
Can you approve that?
I,
You can
I'll be
vote on the meeting
abstaining.
minutes even if you're not there.
Okay.
I think a lot of times people don't, but the board is what's approving the minutes. Alright, aye. We started that. Thanks, Logan. All other ayes? Good. And
I'm not here.
one abstention, two abstentions. Just make sure you got that.
Is that enough?
Alright. New business. One of the things, it's not new for the two of you, Greg and Josh, but what we did was we went over a little bit, 2 weeks ago,
I think you have mine.
I'll just take it then. The code of conduct, again, sort of a reminder, refresher for everyone on the board about expectations both in terms of how we interact with each other, how we interact with the public, how we interact with town staff. The sort of other part of that is particularly if we have hearings, if there's questions about town procedure and what's happening on the back end, how the town is getting applications and getting information and reviewing them, that really shouldn't be something that we're discussing in the middle of a land use application. And if there's questions about it, feel free, outside of a meeting as a starting point, to raise them with me, to raise them with Ken Folsom if you want, and try to discuss them that way. If there's requests where you want things printed or you want things digital, like we can take care of that sort of all off the record, so that we're not airing all of the internal business of the planning department while inside of a public meeting. Bylaws, which I still have.
Do you have a copy of the bylaws? I do old emails.
They are online, but I
They
don't,
are on, they're on the website.
I believe they are.
Well, mine might even be a year out of date, I'm not sure, but I have the 2024 version still in my binder. Take a look, it has our general conduct for like, hearings and meetings in general. If there's any issues going forward, I expect it'll be the same, where if we're not in an actual hearing, I have no problem with people jumping in and asking questions. When we get to the part of a hearing, usually I open it up for the board, so anyone can feel free to jump in, you don't have to be specifically called upon unless, if there starts getting too many people talking, that's when I slow people down.
If I have the bylaws from November 2011, are these out of date?
Yours are older than mine, yeah. I have July 9, 2024, I think originally November 22, 2011, so that would be the most recent before this one.
I don't see them on the website. I tried to look for
Okay.
these and I went through old emails and only found different iterations.
So
of
I
each
will
of them, and I don't know what the final
follow
is.
up and have the most current version circulated to everyone ahead of the next meeting.
Looks like the one that she gave me, Brendan, needs to be July 9th, 2024.
Alright, that's what I have, so I'll just have them send that by email so everyone has a copy of that as well. Okay,
I have a note on the top of mine, I don't know if it's been updated, it says needs amendment, site walk after the completeness of the application. And I think I wrote that to myself, that it needed to be fixed, but I don't know if it's fixed in the
well, I don't know what to do
newer
there.
version.
I believe anytime there's an application, we can go individually visit and look at the property.
Right, but I mean, organized.
To have a public meeting that is a site walk where other members of the public come and that you're doing that, that's usually something, I agree, we accept the application first. And then we schedule a site walk.
Yeah.
As I keep flipping and losing my,
There was a time when the binders would be updated by the planning board secretary or
oh, I made my own, so I don't recall that, but
I know mine has got
that's why I just shredded a whole bunch of stuff.
years and years of stuff in terrible order.
Okay, if anyone needs copies of any of the existing documents, copies made, so if you need the land use you all just got the new zoning ordinance, but if you need the land use regulations or any of the select board policies, any of those other things, just shoot me an email, I'll group them all up and send it to Michelle and Cal.
So the land use regulations, I'm not sure I've ever seen like a final finished copy of them.
They are online, and
Okay.
I think I just found a second copy of my stuff that I shredded, but I printed this one today, don't tell anyone. March 18th, 2025, amended date, just the one off the website.
Yep.
Alright. So, at the end of that, send me an email if you need any of these things printed, I'll group them all in one batch so we're not bombarding the planning staff, and then we'll make one request. And you'll have a new printer to use to make them soon.
Yeah, we brought that.
Yeah. Alright. Next up is Central New Hampshire Regional Planning Commission traffic count. And I also pulled, or I printed just in case, but this is what they end up looking like, these two pages.
Do we have
This
to
was
decide?
online.
Yeah, I saw that, do we have to decide what road they're doing next, or?
We do, I don't know if it was put on this, but
Did
it
we
was,
do that just a couple weeks, month ago?
Yeah, it's like the.
do we do it the
Decide
January?
which roads, I thought we had, maybe not.
I don't recall, I did miss the January 27th meeting, so if it happened then, but I don't believe we have, cause this came not from me, from the land use staff, so I think they said they needed the request by April 4th, so this is sort of our last big day to discuss.
I always feel like we're the wrong people to do it, because it seems like the road agent is the one who like needs to know this stuff.
Well, the reason we might wanna know is if we get larger developments where we want to know what the traffic is. And also site plans for like home occupations and those kind of things where it's helpful to have most recent. And I didn't know that we even had these, so that's a total failure on my part, but I'm gonna save this. So when we have someone come in and say wanna put in their mini school, we can figure out what the traffic count is on the road and get a sense.
We had copies of this at a previous meeting.
I think it's whatever the last meeting date was, it was in the email that got sent to us.
For 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, cause we get 5 roads a year.
But we didn't, because you two were
Is that all?
missing, I didn't wanna pull the trigger on this one, cause we still had time, so I pushed it off, so. Happy to take requests or
Can I
suggestions.
see?
Sure, this is it has the trip volume and, where was my other page, and it's,
When we last did this, Logan was, cause her data expertise, she was able to like say I don't know, I'm not gonna be able to do this that fast, but my recollection is like she said, Logan was able to make sense of what was the best one to do.
Yeah, we
next.
went through it and we just saw the dates when it was last done and we
Yeah.
picked ones that hadn't been done for
Yeah,
quite a
so
while and.
As an example, what this number is the average full day daily trips. So Baptist Road east of Canterbury Elementary was 1,300 daily trips. So I've circled some of the older ones, but there are some, for example, like Creamery Road. I don't know that we care that much about some of the really small roads.
Right.
It's probably trying to stay on top of some of the bigger roads in Canterbury that have had development.
And we might care a lot about the road where the exit 18 development,
West.
West
Yeah.
Road,
Or the Intervale, if people are gonna start cutting across that.
where would you go?
Well, I mean, if you're coming out of that development, that's the backdoor way into Northfield to
So
start
around-
around 32.
Saying Dougherty Pond and all
Yeah.
that?
And
It's a long way.
Boyce is big, so that's also now sort of the
Right, since the
connector to get down to exit 17.
increase of
Yeah.
at exit 17, I think that was one that we identified as should be done.
Right.
So the oldest one that hasn't been done, if I was looking at this right, was Old Gilmanton Road,
Well, I mean, unless,
which is one of the smaller ones. But then
It's a long road though.
Kimball Pond was last done in 2021, which is one of the older ones now, and that's 1,000 daily trips.
and
5 years ago.
that's a big road, and it's had seen some development.
So that one makes sense to me. Boyce Road was last done in 2021, and that was almost 1,000 daily trips already.
Right, that's 5 years.
Carter Hill Road,
That's the cutoff to 18,
Oh, that's the cutoff.
or if, I
Yeah.
guess the left-hand turn to
Right,
18.
right.
which again was 5 years ago, and that was 600 trips, so it's still one
That's
of
a
the
good
bigger
one
ones.
too.
We're at, there's sections of Baptist Hill Road, west Shaker Road and north of Baptist Road, are about 250 that were last done about 5 years ago that we could do.
Seems like there's higher priorities than that.
Yeah, has there been development on Old Gilmanton Road?
No,
'Cause
that's the
that's
one where
4, 5,
Sam
6,
wanted to
7.
build a house in the middle of nowhere and we said no to that, or the selectmen said no,
I didn't say no to it.
whatever, I don't wanna get involved in that.
That evil on me.
But I think the new state law says you can't say no to that.
Right, which I'm like, really
Alright,
hoping
Cause
nobody
that was 217 trips, so it's not nothing, but it is the only one that was last done in 2019. So if we include one smaller road, that would be the road.
Oh, because it comes out of Sherwood Forest. Yeah.
Alright,
And there's been a lot of development in there.
There's been a lot of development there, or
so
redevelopment.
how many was the list for proposed, what's this for priority? Just got spots for 5, but if we're good with Boyce, Carter Hill,
Old Gilmanton,
Kimball Pond, and Old Gilmanton gets us to 4.
there was another one.
West Road.
Yeah, west.
And, oh yeah, so it's sneaking by, it's on my other side. So that was done in 2024, but it's probably still worth doing, because it's one of our high access
Get a
roads.
baseline for.
Yeah.
Yeah, for what the.
So Brendan, which ones are you prioritizing?
So I'm writing this in pencil so we can erase it, and I'll reread it in a
Oh, you're
second.
rereading.
Yeah. Alright,
Can we get a new roster?
yeah, I actually just
Sorry,
got
that's
the
out of order.
information from Calvin and Janice, so I'll have this circulated, but I'll probably, rather than creating an email with this, I'm gonna have them print it and bring it for 2 weeks from now to minimize the amount of government records with that.
Right.
Alright, so the 5 that we loosely discussed there, and feel free to propose any alternatives, are Boyce, Carter Hill, Old Gilmanton, Kimball Pond, and West Road.
Where is County Hill?
Carter Hill is when you go to exit 18, from here you take a left to get to West Road. I always think of that as West Road, but
I do
it's
too.
not. Does that make sense?
Yes. We'll drive down.
Alright, one of the, I don't know, their little footnote is indicate if any of these counts should be conducted during school sessions.
You mean while school's in session?
Right.
Well, Baptist Hill is not on the list, Shaker Road is not on the list. Those are the ones that
None of these
get,
jump out to me then, okay.
those are the ones that would have be most affected by school, I think. What do you think?
Kimball Pond, everyone coming off one
Kimball
thirty-two.
Pond, we are, yeah, that's.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the way they did this was they did it for a week anyway. I think the question is whether they end up doing some of them in the summer.
Oh, the summer session.
Last year they were late August, I think, when they did them, because we got them in September or.
So I would suggest we ask for Kimball Pond to be done when school's in session.
Alright, put it up there during school session. I have to rewrite this whole form, but that's alright.
Do you have New Road or Intervale Road on there?
New road,
New Road or Intervale Road?
and next up is some secondary lists of.
We did.
There's private, but New Road was done
Calvin suggested Intervale.
2022
It was done in 2022.
and 290. Intervale, there's two sections. Intervale's not a bad one to do anyway, because there's one that's, it says north of West Road was 777, and that was last done 5 years ago.
And what's the other section?
The other section was 267, and it says at Northfield Town Lines.
So there's the portion at Northfield and Sandarget and all that, and then the south end?
I'm just working off of this location thing, so I don't know what they actually consider all these. One says north of West Road.
Yeah, you don't know where they divide.
What were the ones that we just hit of?
Well, we would be interested in Intervale, the southern portion.
So, the one, well, is that the north of West Road, the big
Yes.
portion?
Yes.
We could swap that for West Road and then make West Road our priority for next year after some of the houses have gone in, where there's not currently. It was only
Where
done,
was West Road done last?
West Road is 2024.
Yeah.
So it's the most recent of the ones that we were selecting.
Plus the gas station will be in too, and we'll see what
Yeah.
impact the gas station.
And 2024 is probably a good enough baseline.
Except nothing was open, yeah, I mean baseline, but nothing was open there, it was still
Nothing was
busy.
open.
Right,
Yeah.
and there's been significant more traffic to Brookford Farm in the
Yeah.
last.
I like that, 'cause that lets us get Intervale back on the list for this year, and it's one of the older ones. So
And
Intervale,
Brookford Farm put in the new store and everything.
north of West Road section.
Yeah, he's running way more activities.
Yeah.
Or
And as
events.
soon as they put in a new bridge to Boscawen, then it'll be.
Do you want, I'm gonna put,
You're a
Responsible
dreamer.
for paying for it?
I'm gonna put the other section of Intervale on the secondary list, in case it either have time or it doesn't work out. At Northfield,
That's what Luke wants, he wants a pedestrian bridge from across the river where the bridge used to be. So that because of the bike trail now is gonna go all the way to Concord, and it goes up to New London or wherever.
London.
And he wants a piece of he thinks that the summer, it's gonna get busy in the summer, traffic, people come across, he wants to sell ice cream at his place, and so he wants a bridge.
alright,
I told him I think that bridge has sailed.
as you're going, I'm just gonna talk real quick. Another one I'm throwing on the secondary list is Shaker Road at Northfield Town Line, that section was 2021. So it's one of the older sections. We could put Baptist Hill Road, there's two sections that were last done in 2021. West Shaker Road and north of Baptist
Well, we
Road.
only get 5 slots, right?
They let us put a secondary list,
In case they get extra time or something.
and who knows if they'll get done or not, but maybe.
If you ask them nicely, they respond well, in my experience.
And the Regional Planning Commission does this? Not DOT?
Central Regional Planning
Yeah,
is
it's
the people who actually do it.
CNH RPC. West,
Do you think DOT did it?
I think they sent the the recorded zone.
Right.
I don't think DOT cares about our town roads. They
No.
care about sections of the
They care
one
about,
32.
yeah. And Shaker Road, cause they do a bit of that,
And Baptist.
in Baptist.
Baptist Hill Road
Small bit.
North.
It's the ones where the school buses go, I think.
Alright, did I miss any on the back? I would say Shaker Road, no, alright, put that one on. Wait, that's super confusing. There's two different sections that say Shaker Road at Northfield Town Line,
And what's the other one?
and they have different dates and different numbers. Am I reading this
Yeah.
wrong?
Shaker Road north of Shaker Village, Shaker Road at Town Line, Shaker Road at Loudon Town Line.
Wait, where do you see Loudon? I don't have that one on my list.
There in the white.
Um,
Oh.
So there's two that just say at Northfield Town Line and they have different.
But they have the same numbers, 987.
Yeah, it's 867.
You're right,
Unless it's a typo.
that's the typo. And they're different years.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna put them both on the
Explain.
secondary, they can figure it out. Times two.
It is a busy stretch.
Alright. Final list, priority, Boyce, Carter Hill, Old Gilmanton, Kimball Pond, Intervale, north of West Road. Secondary, Intervale at Northfield Town Line, Shaker Road at Northfield Town Line, Baptist Hill Road, West Shaker Road, west, I think that means west of, Baptist Hill Road, north of Baptist Road, and the other section of Baptist Hill Road that is north of, I did that one wrong, it's the last one.
You're interested in the north of,
Yeah.
north of
At
Hackleboro.
the last one was Shaker Road at Northfield Town Line. The second Shaker Road at Northfield Town Line. Alright, done.
The reason for that is because of Shaker Village traffic and racetrack traffic in the southern section.
Why they divide them up.
Oh, I see.
Alright. Next is old business. The starting point in my plan for one of the next two meetings is to get a starting point for discussion purposes of what the cluster subdivision ordinance could look like. Where we talked about coming back to talk about conditions. So if we had a lower starting density and we pick like what are the most important conditions that we wanna see and give them a higher bonus or a more or a less discretionary bonus if they do the things we really want. Whether that encourages people to like open space seemed very important to us, very important to people we heard from in the town. Community well, for example, not something that is visible to other people and as a reality of clustering, they're probably gonna need one anyway. So there's probably not a reason for us to give them a bonus for
I agree.
that, whereas we may want it for architecture, sidewalks, some of the other, and maybe we can fit one in that's, a bonus where you design it to be a, walkable cluster or something to that effect where we don't have to, use the word sidewalk, but stuff like that. So I encourage you to start brainstorming, like what are the most important pieces that you'd want to incentivize.
When we last talked about it, I guess I was concerned that the only variable we were talking about was the density percentage or whatever that's called. But you're talking about much broader than that.
Yeah, so I think what we had this list and there was bonus density, but the bonus density only applied when they were already at the maximum.
Oh, right.
And so, and it was a smaller number, that if we start them much lower, but give them a lot more units if they do the things we want, then we have a lot of actual leverage and they have a real incentive to come in and say, I'm gonna make a plan that preserves open space, that has a walkable neighborhood, that has houses that look like Canterbury styles or more common Canterbury styles.
Good thinking.
So siting of houses, I think is important, because one of the issues is trying to maintain the vistas of what Canterbury looks like, with some open fields and some forests, and so to get them back
Further
behind
back
the
from
ridge,
the road, yeah.
behind the, over the ridge line or something, so you can still see, Belknap and you can still see Bean Hill rather than a wall of houses.
Yeah, and so ideally, they end up getting like close to what the maximum would be if they could have a perfect subdivision laid out. But we're getting everything we want in the process, and if they don't wanna give us those things that are important to us and the
They
residents of
get a
town,
big hit.
then they get a big hit to their density. And they end up a lot lower. I've also had more time to think about it, but I don't think in most cases a traditional subdivision can ever actually get close to the cap because of slopes, wetlands, needing to put in a road that still has units that are meeting the Canterbury
If we lived in
rectangle.
Iowa,
From
where
which
everything's
is a-
flat or something, maybe.
Right.
So you gotta have 300
And
feet of
so-
road for every house, it's about.
You know, maybe you can get pretty close if you have a big, like the big square portion to the left on their plan, though, I don't know if that
Off
was
of
the
Baptist
that we
Hills.
just looked at.
Yeah.
That one, they could probably get pretty close, cause it's a big rectangle, but there's a ton of lots that have
There's a lot of
irregular
wetland there.
shapes. They have brook boundaries that are gonna be hard to put anything on anyway because of the wetland and also the irregular shape. But like, I don't think that West Road subdivision would have been able to get anywhere close to a
I agree.
maximum if they had
we-
to put in a.
If we insisted that they had taken out the road acreage, they would, I think it would have been 5 to 7 units less at least.
Right, so I think if we think about those conditions the right way, that we're gonna end up actually having something that really incentivizes them to do it the way we want.
And it gives
Where
us
we
more
have all the
leverage.
leverage.
Yeah. Which is
You
what
know,
we lacked.
Right, and we can also, I think there's a number of towns that their baseline subdivision standard, they have a number of things that you need to meet, and one of them is like preservation of natural features, and they have big definitions, and includes like old stone walls and rivers and ponds, those kind of things. But that gives you a little bit more to
We
it.
have nothing about vistas,
Right, well,
it's a really good idea.
well, the view's not part of the property though, I mean, unless the view is the property.
Well, I mean, but preserving vistas like you, like.
Yeah. But some of that we can even look at just changing our base subdivision language, so that we also, with a traditional subdivision, have more, cause right now, when we do these 3-lot subdivisions, there's nothing in there that we're just like checking the dimensions. In a lot of other towns, you have the dimensional, but you've also gotta kinda look at how you're siting the lots and making sure that you're doing it in a way where you're not, destroying rock walls or dropping a driveway through a brook.
You
that kind of
wanna
stuff.
amend not only the cluster subdivision, but the subdivision as well.
I'm saying, keep it in the back of your mind,
Yeah.
that maybe there's a way we can do that, and that we can do just through our own regulations, that doesn't
Yes,
need
we can.
a zoning change.
I've wondered about limiting the overall size. Because when you have, if you have, say, a 50 unit subdivision, there is a big payday at the end of the day for the developer, which encourages them to take advantage in any way they possibly can. And if there's a way, it can't be more than 12, for example, then the payday is way less, and they have much less incentive to.
You mean a maximum subdivision number?
Maximum size of a cluster. The cluster can only hit this size, so to process this cluster, doesn't mean you can't have one cluster and then another cluster somewhere, but
But if you reduce the number, you're going to raise the price for the cost of the home. So isn't that counterintuitive to the purpose of cluster subdivisions for affordability?
I don't think the main purpose of the cluster subdivision is affordability.
Well, wasn't that the driving factor to putting this all through in the plan for tomorrow, was affordability, expanding housing opportunities for other elderly
no.
areas?
So the cluster, didn't a portion of the cluster predated?
Yeah, the purpose of the cluster was to give us some leverage over, because if you have a piece of land and you just wanna subdivide it, and people are just gonna, chop it up. And cluster makes us, instead of people doing that, they make a cluster, and so they put,
So
the
they
houses in one place and maintain the vistas.
So like
and
an
the
internal
field.
driveway and then all the houses are in the back and
Right.
you don't see everything, but
I'm
I
just saying, like, the narrative that was put out when this was coming through 2 or 3 years ago was for affordability.
No, it wasn't.
So
That was for
Worked pretty
the,
hard
in the,
not that.
Calvin, that was for cluster in the commercial zone,
Okay,
and
where
every-
there is a 1 acre minimum.
okay.
And we were trying to find a way to make some more affordable units. And what did we get? $700,000
Yeah, because if you were to put those, you know, if you implemented these new changes or ideas and say you applied to the Abington property, because that was just here. If you're looking at $5 or $6 million homes on Baptist Hill Road.
Right.
As opposed to, what is it, 70 acre, you know, break it down 25, you know what I mean? The cost as a developer, instead of putting sidewalks and accessibility, it's easier for me to sell 5 $1.2 million houses than it is to go invest $500,000, $1 million for
So,
20.
so you're suggesting that having a maximum is a problem? Or a
I think-
disincentive?
the maximum would create issues down the road.
Oh, I get
When
where
you have
you are,
an
you're all-
actually like such a large piece that you then disincentivize them. And so it's not gonna matter for most of the lots that people come here, but there's some really big lots in the center, and if someone got to one of those, like that's where you might,
Or the north end of
inadvertently-
Baptist Hill. What's his name? Ackerstrom, those lots, I think there's 6 or 7 up there. The 3 you got, the
The
3
three that
that
they
went a
made
couple
along?
months ago, and
Yeah.
there's more on the other side of the road.
There's more on the other.
You know, so it's like almost by lowering, I guess, the number, you might be producing a different
Incentivizing.
type of development, if that makes sense. You know, the type of housing that goes in.
The ones on Baptist Hill Road that you're referring to, those seem like, they're not small lots, but they're not enormous.
No, I think they're what,
Oh, no, they
6,
were
7
big
acres?
lots. They were-
Six or seven.
This,
They
on
were
the
all-
north side.
They were all at least twice the acreage required.
Yeah.
Right, but they're not 65 or 70 or 100.
No, but the ones on the south side of the road are 20 acre lots. There's 3 of them, there used to be a, what was it, 60 acre piece?
alright, so we're at a little far afield
Yeah.
for now at least, but what I'm hoping is it'll either be the next meeting or 2 meetings from now. Come with like a wish list of what you think the most important criteria that you wanna be able to control with the development, that you wanna incentivize with bonus units.
Am I right in thinking that a 20-acre lot like those, having a cluster is almost a little bit weird? You know, if you have 20 acres, you divide into 3, that's, you know, 100, 300 feet on the road. That seems more likely than 20 acres and put a cluster in only 20 acres?
It's relief from the zone, from the frontage requirement.
Oh, it's relief from the frontage, but still, it doesn't seem like a 20-acre lot would lend itself to a cluster. And with the clusters, I'm more worried about the Abington Road thing, I'm worried about these big lots where someone's gonna put a road in and
But most of your big lots are ag and cluster subdivisions are exempt from ag, you can't put them in there.
Right, well, that's something that a lot of people think we should be looking at, and because that's where
Because that's
those
the one
lots
I
are
care
that
about.
we care about preserving the open space.
Yeah.
The other,
And the vistas, sorry.
no worries, the other piece is having a good ordinance in place that like ignore the actual dimensional requirements for the lots. If the rest of the ordinance is in place the way we want, we're a little more protected from state changes that say you can't require a minimum lot size
That's a really
of
good
more than
point.
A, B, or
That's
C.
a really good point.
And so that would change that one portion, which is our minimum lot size, but it would leave in place that, well, if you wanna cluster it, you're gonna have to get your density, you're gonna have to do these things and preserve these things. And so we still end up with more control that way, as long as that's in place. It's, I don't know, I'm like,
boy, this is a mind twist.
There was a proposal proposal for 50-foot minimum frontage requirement.
It's,
But
yep.
of course.
That's like quarter-acre lot kind of thing.
Yeah,
I We have
What?
more off the record discussions about that if you're interested, but I think that's good enough for now. So I'm gonna see what I can come up with as a starting point to get us thinking in terms of what the ordinance would look like, and then we can fill in some of the other things for the
Can I
controls.
throw out one other thing?
Yes, definitely.
Related to what you were saying, Calvin, about affordability. That if there's 20% of the units are and elderly friendly, single level and under a certain square footage, shooting for something that is more affordable.
Yeah, and that could be its own percentage, which is like, if 10%, you get 10% more lots or units, if those units are, single story housing or, some of those
Small,
other concepts that are
beautiful
good for like older, people who need single floor, or cheaper, cause they end up being less space, so you end up with both workforce and so we could do that kind of stuff too, which is not a bad way to give a proportion of smaller housing without
Right, 10%.
changing a total
If you
development.
make 10%
Right.
meet those
So,
criteria,
like,
you can have
If you have a
One more,
25 lot one on
5%
West
more,
Road,
right.
3 of them are cheaper homes, so you get a portion that are hoping to build out that base. So I like that idea. Alright, any new business?
I just have a question, just as we're getting into this new session, do we have any contracts out with Central Regional Planning? What is currently being done by them, and are we tracking
I
it?
don't think we have anything.
I think nothing, I think we're done with everything.
Okay,
New Hampshire Housing, Calvin, to your prior comment, was every time they came, their push was
Okay.
cheaper housing.
Mhm.
And it is
Yeah.
something I think the town wants, but it's not necessarily something we want for every
Okay,
subdivision.
cause I just remember that coming up a lot, and that was like.
They
the
were
drum.
a big
They
proponent
were a
of
big
just like
proponent of it.
jamming in, is more housing, cheaper housing,
Okay.
that's sort of their mission.
I felt like their mindset, I felt like it was 20 years old.
It was, I think you were there the last session that they came and we sat and asked them
Not
questions and
long
they seemed to
ago.
like not know what was going on, it's
Yeah.
really like ended up being like bored to be representative of New
Right,
Hampshire housing.
to come here and tell us that a ADU is no less expensive than a regular house. You don't have to buy the property. It's $100,000 cheaper, come on.
So, anyway, alright, any other new business? Motion to adjourn,
I'll make that.
alright.
We need a
Greg,
second.
All in favor? Aye. Just.
Hi.